your conference. Mute on.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second instalment of the Tourism Ireland Education Series with our Irish partners today. We have John Ahern from Irish Cycle Tours and Southwest Walks, and we also have Rory Gibbons from the Waterloft Cruising Company, the Shannon Princess. So they're going to be taking us through the presentations after myself. I just want to introduce myself, Helen Cole from Tourism Ireland. I'm the Trade and Online Promotions Executive, the trade contact here in Toronto. And thank you all so much for taking the time out of your workday to join us. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you find out lots of great, interesting information about Ireland. Just to lots of history and heritage, music, food, walking and cycling, and golf. So a very active destination for Canadian visitors. The great news is that there is really good access from Canada. We have some fantastic seasonal direct access with Air Canada from Toronto to Dublin from June to September. Also, Transat have direct seasonal access from May to October, and the access that Transat offer are Toronto to Dublin, Toronto to Shannon, and Montreal to Dublin. So plenty of access there. And also year-round access with Air Canada and their code-sharing partner BMI, and you can go via London to Dublin or Belfast, which is excellent with that code-sharing partner. So I'll just show you on the map here that there are a number of gateway cities. As you can see there, you can fly Dublin, Shannon, Belfast and Cork from London Heathrow as well. So why will your customers love Ireland? Hopefully you're going to find this out on the course of these webinar series. It's the island of unique character and everyone loves having scenery in terms of architectural and amazing. So what is there to uncover? Activities that your Canadian we all know that Ireland is a great destination this September, and you're and there's some amazing shots there of the Ballybunion golf course in Kerry on the left and Old Heads up on the right corner there. The great thing about a lot of the golf products is if some of your clients, if they're a couple wanting to go and maybe she's not so interested in golf, there's some great hotel and golf products as well. So great spas on offer and great alternative activities for partners. And we have a golf page through our discoverireland.com website that you can find out lots more information about booking tee times and finding out about all the golf courses in Ireland. Walking vacations, some of the kind of the major walking destinations or parts of Ireland that we would recognise would be the Wicklow Way in the east with very easy, accessible scenic walks. The Kerry Way in the south, west, being one of the longest signposted ways. The Dingle Way with 179 kilometres long, and it would take, I believe, a fit adult 8 or 9 days to complete with amazing, spectacular scenery. And I'm sure John will kind of give us a bit more insight on those particular walks. And also the Ulster Way with over 1,000 kilometres, and you can kind of do all of Northern Ireland on this spectacular walk. Cycling holidays. You can do any variety of types of cycling holidays, and Ireland is a great destination for cycling. It's not too overly hilly, it's not too mountainous. I mean, you can really get a good cycling holiday at a nice level in Ireland. And you can do independent cycling holidays, guided cycling holidays. There's great mountain biking, and in Northern Ireland there's the National Cycle Network offering 770 miles of signposted routes. Lots of great water sports in Ireland as well. We have the North Coast, which is renowned surfers' paradise around Sligo and Donegal. People come from all over the world now to surf in these waters because they're some of the best in Europe. River cruising, which again I'm sure Rory's going to tell us a little bit more about. Kite surfing, you see a lot of people now out in Dublin Bay doing their kite surfing, really, really popular. Sailing throughout like all the kind of the coastal regions, and canoeing and rafting as well. And you can even do rafting in parts of Dublin, which is really unusual for a city. Equestrian holidays, Ireland is definitely land of the horse. We have obviously some famous studs in Ireland, and you can do lovely, engaging, active horse riding equestrian holidays. And you can do it with groups, you can do it independently, you can even check out some of the horse racing in Ireland and some of the horse shows and fairs. So I've just given you a bit of an insight into some of the active holidays that you can do. I mean, there's lots more information and a lot more detail that we can always give you. I'll just draw up a quick map there of Ireland. We have Ulster, Munster, Leinster and Connacht, and some regions would have more of those activities than others, and you can always contact me to find out if you need some more information about that. So just leaving you with Ireland's characters, who are the friendliest people in Europe, of course. We're a very friendly tourist nation, and we were voted the top tourist destination of 2011 by the readers of the Frommer's Travel Guide. There's a great shot there of a few different characters and places that you will discover on your trip to Ireland. And obviously we're known for our great crack, which means fun, and it's definitely a great destination to have a bit of fun in. So that's a brief summary of some of the active holidays, active vacations that you can do in Ireland. I'm going to hand you over now to John from Irish Cycle Tours Southwest Walks, who's going to do his presentation. Feel free, please, to pop lots of questions into the chat box, and then what I will do is I will direct those questions to John at the end of his presentation. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm going to hand you over to John. So it'll just be a minute for a changeover. Thank you. So John, you can take it away there whenever you're ready.
Hello everybody, and very welcome to the presentation for Southwest Walks and Irish Cycle Tours. I was going to say actually Tá fáilte Riv Cork. It means everybody is very, very welcome. Please don't get very upset about the pen picture of myself, because it was actually taken as the bulls were all removed from that particular field. But what I'd like to speak with you and talk to you in the next few minutes is give you a little pictorial trip around Ireland, which one will see and one will be involved in if one takes a cycle or a walking holiday here. Actually, the opening picture you see in front of us there is at a place called Slea Head. And if any of you have seen some of the films in Ireland, for example, Ryan's Daughter, there's a lot of the film made on the beach there in front of you, as was a film with Nicole Kidman, Far and Away. But that's Slea Head, and it's one of the most westerly points in Europe. In fact, we the Irish would argue that it is the most westerly point on the continent of Europe. Off in the distance there you see an island called the Sleeping Giant on Farmorov, and that is one of the Blasket Islands. Ireland. In fact, from a walking prospect, we're the only company who offer guided and self-guided holidays. Tours because we feel that people would prefer to actually travel and move at their own pace and therefore get time to stop, get off the bike, take a photo, and in many cases sit outside the pub for an hour and have a pint or two. Transport and access in Ireland has increased dramatically. We have a very good train service and we have an excellent public bus service with a very good bus service from both Shannon and Dublin and Cork airports, bringing you all over the island of Ireland. We do guided tours, guided walking tours. These are small groups. We have probably somewhere between 10 and 12 would be our maximum on the groups, and all our groups are international. In fact, last week I had a tour which I guided. We had 12 persons and we had 8 nationalities. We have Canadians, Americans, Germans, Dutch, French, and Australian, and 1 or 2 Irish people. We have been very lucky over the last number of years. Is we want you to come to Ireland. We want to show you the countryside, to meet the people, to understand the culture, to get to know the history, to see the nature. Even the stone walls have a story to tell. And by the way, we want you to walk every day. The walking what I'm going to go through now is just a few slides of groups and that as they walk around the countryside and point out. This is a cairn or a rock, how would I say, a rock tomb on top of one of the hills in the Burn area, which is a limestone plateau which very much resembles the moon. It's on the west coast of Ireland, south of Galway Bay and north of Shannon Airport. Some happy punters there. You can see we get mixed age group of people, and we have now and again, unfortunately, as you're probably very aware as far as Ireland is concerned, have to put on our little raincoats because we get among couples or 3 or 4 people who want to come here. We provide all the logistics. We book the accommodation. We give you all the route details, map, instructions, background information. We move the luggage each day for the clients. We arrange taxis to and from the start of the walks if required. And off you go and enjoy it. Feel free to take your time to do what you want. When you get to the towns in the evening time, people make their own arrangements for evening meal, whereas on the guided holidays, it's fully inclusive. We offer airport transfers to the airport and back to the airport after the holidays, and the evening meal where we sit around the table and discuss the various things that have happened during the day, and believe you me, there are incidents, is a very enjoyable time of the day. Cycle holidays, we offer independent cycle holidays where, again, like the independent walking holidays, we do all the logistics, we put everything in place, we give the client, your client and you the information as to how best to get to and from the start and finish of the location. We give you, of the cycle or the walking location, we give you all the bus and rail connections to make sure the client gets to the place with the easiest of ease and the least cost. We just have a few little shots of places we will visit. On the top left-hand corner, you'll see a small little shot there of one of our bed and breakfasts that we use in our self-guided holidays in Aunaskol, and that village was made very famous by a gentleman called Tom Crean, who was actually part of the expedition that went to the South Pole with Shackleton and Scott in the early parts of the 20th century. Linan, famous on the west coast of Galway area, and of course nobody needs an introduction to Killarney. We do holidays which take in Dublin. Clahan on the top right-hand corner is a little village on the tip of the Dingle Peninsula, which I must admit I describe as God made the world in 7 days, and on the 8th day he actually made Clahan. Doolin, the home of Irish music. The Aran Islands, of course, a favourite by everybody, where you can actually walk and cycle. We offer guided and self-guided holidays, and also independent cycle tours on the Dingle Peninsula. This is some beautiful views looking from the Blasket Islands. That little beach out there that you're seeing in front of the Statue of Liberty, or goes up the rivers to the Great Lakes and into Montreal. That particular little beach there, in the springtime, you could find hundreds of seals actually come up, young seals come up on there. The Blasket Islands now are no longer habited, but up until about 50 years ago, there was about 300 to 350 people on the islands, and they've all been taken off. In fact, a lot of them went to live in the States, and they settled in a place called Springfield, Massachusetts. A lot of them went to Canada as well. We have a little shot there of what we call bug cotton as we walk across the fields. A little picnic stop there, as you can see again. Most of our walks, if not all of them, are by the sea and have sea views during the day. A little nice shot there of our gorse, our little nice gorse in yellow in the springtime. Again, the heather as it blooms in the autumn. This is a shot looking down through Dingle Bay with the Kerry Peninsula on the right-hand side. Various people from different nationalities all over the world. The variety, the conversation, as Helen said earlier on, the crack in the pub in the evening is mighty. And what we try to get across and emphasis to people is that it's a holiday. We want you to enjoy yourself, and above all, in enjoying yourself, to get back and to visit us again, and to go back to Canada and to tell you, the people who have sold them the holiday, how much an enjoyable holiday they've had. Because as you know, the best people to advertise our business and your business is a very happy client. We have castles. In fact, that particular castle is on the Dingle Peninsula, where Tom Crean actually joined his ship that he sailed to the Antarctic back in the early 1900s. The beehive huts, again, some of these are 2,000 years old, and were the original or the early day bed and where you have aircraft and buses and planes, was all done by sea at that time. This is one of the most famous churches we have on the Dingle Peninsula. It's an oratory called Gallerus Oratory. It was built in the 9th century, and believe you me, it is identical. That is what that looked like in the 19th century. Same today, nothing has ever happened to it. It was a single monk cell. We have some Om writing, and we have some trails there for you. The Kerry Peninsula, this is a view looking from the Skellig Rock. During the Kerry Peninsula guided holiday, we actually visit the Skellig Rock, and this is a monastic settlement, almost like one of the seven wonders of the world. In fact, we're looking to get at that, where the monks went out in the 7th century and actually set up a monastery there. 200 meters, we built a monastery 200 meters on top of a rock. You can see some of the remains of it there. The island off in the distance is what we call the Small Skellig, and that is home to about 50,000 pairs of gannet. And when we get the boat trip out, we actually go around that island, and I can tell you the smell is quite strong and very good for the sinuses. Some little local cottage was thatching, walking through an old oak forest in the Killarney estate. Again, you can almost see the little leprechauns and the little people jumping out from you there as they have their celebrations and drink their whiskey and their poaching behind the tree. Beautiful. This was actually an old stagecoach route at one time that was built probably in the early part of the 1800s. And one of our famous politicians, a gentleman called Daniel O'Connell, used to travel along this route with his horses and his coach when he went to attend the House of Parliament in London. Another shot of some of the beehive huts, which the gorse. Beautiful colouring. We say actually here when we take people for a walk that even the stone walls have a story to tell, and so do the plants. This is a view of one of the on the Skellig Rock as well, and that particular rock off in the distance at one stage was actually a crucifix made out of rock, but has been worn away by the weather, because you must remember that you are 12 kilometres out to sea here. A happy group of campers, as they say, just looking down and enjoying themselves. An ancient fortification, stake fort, probably going back about 2,500 years, the early part of the Celts, and this was the fortifications they would have used when the various tribes locally would have attacked them. The walls are about 8 to 10 metres tall and about 4 metres thick. Again, an area we visit when we do the hike. We actually come up over the top of the hill there on the left-hand side. A breezy day with some bog cotton. They are puffins which nest on the Skellig Rock, and they come in here at the end of May, beginning of June, lay a single egg, and actually the puffins come back and go into the same little nest that they were actually born in, fly away towards the middle end of June, back down to the equator, where they never again actually get set foot on land. They land on the sea, but you can actually get to a metre or half a metre distance to these birds. They are so tame and they're so unafraid of people. Beautiful, beautiful little animal. And it's, as one would say, a walk on the wild side. Little fishing. This is the bridge actually that connects the island of Valencia with the mainland down on the where a chieftain would have been buried thousands of years ago. The cliffs of Moher, another famous site, well worth seeing, that we visit when we're on the Burn walk on holiday. Wild goats are all over the place on the Burn, and you can see you can get quite close to them, even though they're feral and they're wild. There's probably a herd of about 100 of them there at the moment. Craiganone, an example of, again, a thatched house out on the fortification on a lake, because they built houses at those times out there so that people couldn't attack them. Again, nice flower, some of the local vegetation. Rhododendrons there on the right-hand side. Again, they're in full bloom at the moment. Beautiful. I was in the National Park in Killarney this morning at about 8 o'clock, and the weather was gorgeous. The rhododendrons were out, the purples, the reds, the whites, the blue. Beautiful, beautiful. This is the Lemonade Castle. It's a famous castle up on the Burn area. I won't go into the details of it, but it was the home of a lady called Maura Rua, who actually ate husbands like we eat dinners. She went through a few of them in her day. This is what the Burn looks like, as I said to you, when you're walking across the moonscape of the land. Again, not difficult, but nice, comfortable walking. A castle in Doolin, actually owned and built by an American gentleman who actually has done it up, and air conditioning and central heating and everything inside in it. Again, some examples of our wedge tombs. And then we move rope bridge as you go across the Carrigareed. I won't say it's not for the faint-hearted, but it's quite easy nowadays. But it was actually originally put up by the local fishermen so they could go out to the island and lay out nets there in front of you where you see the Antrim Coast and Glens. They have nets there which they catch the salmon as they migrate up and down the northeast coast of Ireland. A nice shot there of the Giant's Causeway, one of the almost 7 wonders of the world, and well worth a visit. Ireland, as we have known for many years, is known as the island of saints and scholars, and we were probably moving across the European continent in the 8th and 9th century, evangelizing people. So we've just a few shots here of the Weymouth church, and again, I think something that fascinates me with a lot of these places that we go and visit like this is that all the figurines you see in the right-hand photograph and the carvings on the doors, etc., that's all done by hand. These were people who are the monks who probably saw as part of their vocation that they would sit down and carve all these various pieces. And they have lasted the time. They've been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. The Celtic cross, the round towers, the old monasteries. This the stone on the left actually is found on the Dingle Peninsula and is going back to the 5th or 6th century and has some Greek writing on it, commemorating also on the right-hand side the voyage of St. Brendan across the Atlantic. We would reckon that St. Brendan went to America and found America somewhere about the 6th or 7th century. Now we have actually records that he got as far as Greenland, but we have no actual fact that he went as far as either Canada or the US, but he came back to tell us the story. Again, more examples of various crosses. The Beara Peninsula, which is in the southwest of Ireland, this is another example of stone graves. Another group taking in the views, the scenery, and then you can see everybody seems relaxed and happy. They're not route marches. We're there to make sure that everybody has a relaxing, enjoyable time. And I suppose cable car, and it connects the island of Dursey again, which is in the southwest at the very end of the Beara Peninsula. In fact, as you sit into this little cable car that goes across this stretch of the water, there's a sign when you go in the door saying, for 6 persons or 1 cow. We don't mix the cow or the persons together, but they use it as well to transport animals back and forth across. An excellent experience to travel across there and do a fabulous walk on the island of Dursey. And O'Sullivan Castle, one of the castles built, and obviously when they built castles like that, they were protecting the waters around them. Connemara and the Aran Islands, we do walking holidays. That's a beautiful view of Kylemore Abbey, which at one stage was a finishing school for ladies, now just closed this year, in fact. Run by the Benedictine nuns. That's the view from top of one of the bens in Connemara. Again, we're looking out towards Inishbofin Island, way off in the distance there on the Connemara coast. A nice little lunch break. We carry our lunch with us during the day and find a nice cool spot like that, comfortable, sun shining, and sit down and have our break. This is on the Aran Islands and some of the cliffs facing the Atlantic. You can see the effects of the sea. This is Ireland's only fjord, Killery Harbour, as it goes along in there. Beautiful, beautiful walk along the fjord, the old Famine Trail. People used to walk this road out to the end, a small little fishing port there called Ross Row, and get the ships that would have, in those days, sailed actually to Gross Eel. And many, many people, in fact, it's recorded in 1847 that 130,000 Irish went through Gross Eel. So there's a huge connection. Wicklow, which is on the east coast, south of Dublin, a great place to go. St. like that, and we send them on their way. All the routes that Helen told you about earlier on are very well marked. The Kerry Way, the Wicklow Way, the Ulster Way. They just move from A to B, and we give the whole logistics background. There's some of the fuchsia, some more so part of the traditional Ireland, an old cottage there. So we're giving you some of the shots there, some of the sheep you see plenty of. Again, these are just basically, how would I say, just giving you an idea of what some of the areas and things you see as you are walking each day, and cycling, obviously. I'm having a little bit of difficulty moving on from here now. Yeah, sorry you don't. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a little bit slower. We'll just give you a little sense of the Irish. You probably very well know. On one side of the lane where you can go 50 kilometres per hour, and the other side of the lane where you can go 30 kilometres per hour. So up to yourself. And we do recommend waterproof boots. And that's the end as far as my presentation is concerned for Southwest Walks Ireland and Irish Cycle Tours. And all I really want to say at this stage is to welcome all the clients that you will send this way, and if you come yourself, you are very, very, very welcome. Tá fáilte rud Baxter. Everybody is very, very welcome, and please be assured that we, as Southwest Walks and Irish Cycle Tours, will look after all your clients exceptionally and welcome them and make sure they have a holiday and an Irish experience of a lifetime. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks so much, John. That was fantastic. Some amazing photograph shots there, and I think it's definitely enticed hopefully a lot of agents to send some clients your way. We did have a number of questions throughout, so I
Lovely.
direct them, and if you can kind of just quickly answer them, that would be super. Rosemary was asking if there
judge the Helen, we never judge the distance. What we say actually is that we go on a journey every day. We start out in the morning about 9 o'clock walking, and we finish each day about 4:30 with probably a 45-minute stop for lunch. And journey, forget about the distance, it's a journey.
you know what, I don't really want to walk today. Is there some alternative that they can do and maybe meet you at
When we actually have a group together, we have a briefing session, and one of the very first things we say to people is that this is your holiday. If you want time out, if you horse ride, take a boat
Great. And just one last question from Donna was total for however.
but obviously if we day-to-day program tour companies like Global weather dependent, obviously variation to the theme, but yes, we have no
and we're going to get some direct information from you. Now and get him live on the webcast.
To offer, and may I wish everybody
Your presentation.
Okay, I think
Minutes there for John to start his third presenter who was I see we have Rory on the webcam, and it looks like he's sitting in the wheelhouse of one of both. So Rory, I'm going to hand it over to you, and please feel free to pop questions into the chat box, and we can direct them to Rory at the end of his presentation. So Rory, over to you. Rory.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking the time to. Sorry, there's a big echo there. My name is Rory. I own and operate the Shannon Princess along with my wife. And the Shannon Princess is a hotel barge, and we operate on the Lower Shannon. The Shannon Princess accommodates 10 passengers in 5 cabins.
I'm sorry, Rory. This is Helen. I'm just going to interrupt you for 2 seconds. Would you be able to hold your phone up like you had previously, because the sound is much better?
All right, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Thanks a million. Great.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. Am I okay to start, Helen?
Yep, perfect. Sorry, if you'd like to continue now, that is perfect sound. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving your time. And we operate at the end of the River Shannon, right to the heart of Ireland. Now, most of you are probably familiar with barging, but I'll just explain briefly what barging is all about. Hotel barging is, these are small. So they operate on canals and on tributaries. And because of that, they're able to get into these beautiful community areas. Our boat accommodates 10 passengers in 5 cabins, and the cabins can be configured either as twin or double. As the slideshow goes on, you'll see those now in a moment. It's quite an intimate atmosphere for people. A lot of people will come into you will have previously barged in France and Holland and places like that. We're the only barge operating in Ireland. Now, our route, as I said, it goes through the heart of Ireland. When people come to Ireland, many go around the coastal areas, and few really come down into the Midlands and right down to the Shannon. So it's kind of Ireland's jewel, really. It's very few people see it, and it's very, very unspoiled. As you sail down, you're right into the farmland. We usually start sailing in the mornings, and we sail for 3 or 4 hours a day, and then each afternoon our guests are taken on a shore excursion. And these shore excursions are all very varied, interesting, and fun. A big part of barging is actually the food served on board. Traditionally, that always has been very important with barging. Barging actually has been in existence for 40 years now, and we're operating here for 15. So it's a well-established, cruising activity. I'll just move on there. Here's a small picture of our saloon area. Our guests, with the whole saloon area is where they eat and also relax. And also, in the fine weather, we can dine up on deck. Again, the deck can accommodate 10 passengers as well. The whole thing is set up for 10, and you'll have a crew of 5. So other days we'll have 150 feet. The Shannon River is really a system of lakes interconnected by river. So we spend some time on the lakes and sometimes on the river. So the scenery is constantly changing. At night time, our moorings are always very, very quiet. We're away from the big cities. These are all in small little villages where you get right up and you meet the locals and stop whenever you have time to chat. We take our guests on, and there they'll see at the time, in the 1860s, the largest telescope in the world, and they'll see all the achievements of the Parsons family, from telescopes and the world's first suspension bridge, and they had electricity there before Edison had it in New York, and Burr Covent Garden is very, very interesting. But mostly it's about the cruising. This is the bus where our guests are taken on. This originally had 22 seats in it, and seats were taken out, and there's 10 big leather captain's chairs in it, so it's comfort all the way. The barge was restored by that man in the middle with the beard. He's one of Ireland's better known musicians, Sean Ryan. And there's a fascinating history there with Lee Castle and with North America. The original occupiers actually emigrated from here, and they became very wealthy landowners in Maryland. And in fact, where Capitol Hill is at the moment, those lands were donated by the O'Carrolls. So that history is all brought together for you by Sean, and he plays his whistle. And his daughter is there too. She's a champion Irish dancer, and she'll dance for you. And it's a really, really fun day. In fact, Leap Castle is reputed to be the most haunted house in Ireland. And some guests have actually seen a ghost or two, but anyway, I'll leave that one for another time. When we get into the little villages and towns, there's always time for a beer. Guests can just stroll up there and see what's going on, and maybe some traditional music or something like that can be going on. Again, here's one of the locks, well, one of the disused locks. The pace is very, very slow. That's the whole thing about barging. It's a very, very slow pace. Nothing is rushed at all. It's just sit back and watch the world go by. Again, that's one of the sunsets on the river there. Back to the moment. It's pretty windy here at the moment. At the moment, we're approaching Midsummer's Day, and we're getting lovely long evenings right up to about 10:45 in the evening. We still have light. Again, a typical riverside scene here from the local villages. Right now, I'm speaking from the wheelhouse, and we're moored in the little village of Terryglass. Killaloe. This is at the end of the river. This is where we terminate our cruise, and every second week we start there. The cruises are for 6 nights. We pick up our guests in Dublin, and at the end of the week we transfer them back to Dublin. The whole boat is exclusively to yourself, or you can book on as an individual or as a couple. You can book per cabin. We get a lot of family cruises where we get 3 generations. We have the grandparents, parents, and children. It's a great way for them to get together. Again, here we are with food up on the deck. My wife, Olivia, is a chef, and she's a pretty good chef. Our guests always tell us that it's probably the best food they've had anywhere. We've had 2 Michelin star chefs on board who said the food exceeds it. Anyway, hopefully your guests might get to see or taste that themselves. And they'll know exactly where they're going. But we also have specialist itineraries where we do, where it could be a week for just golfers, and you can just go golfing all week, and we take it from golf course to golf course. In fact, on 2 of the courses, you can tee off from the deck of the boat onto the 17th tee. That's a glassing golf course. We also operate a walking itinerary where each day we sail on down the river, and our bus then takes them off on a lovely walk. We have a walking guide. Everything is escorted here. All our guests are always escorted. So for the walking guides, for the walking tours, there'll be a walking guide. For golf, we'll have a golfer there as well. So they're never on their own at any stage. That's a photograph of Glassing Golf Course. It's actually that body of water down there. We can pull right up there in the reeds, and they can tee off on the deck of the boat, much to the annoyance of other golfers. Cycling. We carry bikes on board, so people can just head off and cycle as they go. We also operate a cycling itinerary for special people who just want to cycle, and that could be guided by a professional cyclist. And more of the cycling. Equestrian, too. We operate equestrian charters. They're a lot of fun. We get lots of groups of equestrians, and we go to visit a different equestrian center every different day, and they're all of different aspects about them. And again, that's a very popular one, and a lot of fun ones for the younger folks. This is the Shannon Princess, moored up here, right on the castle here, right on the waterway. The only way to access that castle is actually by the water. So as we sail along, you'll see all these old castles and all the antiquity as well. The scenery varies as we go, from the river sections onto the lake sections. It's very, very beautiful. That's an inside shot of the saloon area. There's another inside shot of the saloon area as well. That's a group of friends there who chartered last year. Lots of local artists and things like that as well, craft stores. In fact, we also, on one occasion previously, we've operated an artisan trail where we've gone around and met local artists and also food producers and things like that. People love that, actually. It's great. The saloon shot. And here's some of the locks as well. These are the smaller locks on the canals off the main river. That's our little boy Ross. He's on board with us as well. And, folks have spent a lot of time there. This is the Shannon Princess is actually the largest vessel on the inland waterways in Ireland. It's 32 meters or 105 feet. So there's lots and lots of space on her. In comparison to other barges, it would be considered to be one of the more comfortable ones. It's a shot of a cabin. Cabins can be made up as twin or double, and they're full-size beds. They're not bulky bunk beds or anything like that. And they've all their own ensuite bathrooms, lots of room in the bathrooms and lots of power in the showers. It's just quite like a 5-star hotel. That's one of the bathrooms there, fully functional. And on the right-hand side is Clonmacnoise, where we sail right up to Clonmacnoise. An old monastery, and there's a full guided tour there. There's Shannon Bridge, Napoleonic fort. We moor right in underneath there. There's always time for the guests then to stroll off on their own into town. Again, people booking on this, individual couples who've never met each other before, and they go away like old friends. everybody always gets on. There's some of the artisan food trails where we go down to local cheesemakers. All this is interpreted for our guests by the owners. There's one of the breakfast servings. Again, some more of the food shops in the dining area. Local cheesemakers. Nice bit of duck on the plate. Smoked salmon dish there. And this is the serving here, serving up the cheese. As I said earlier, we have a crew of 5 to look after 10 guests, and our crew are all, most of them come from Ballymaloo. That's a cookery school down in Cork. So they all have great knowledge of food, and they're well trained. This is one of the shots from one of the walking tours. Again, we're up there on the hills, and you're looking right down into the Shannon Valley there. Overlooking Lough Derg. This is going through one of the locks. This is Meelick Lock, which is usually quite a bit of fun. As what happens in the locks, the boat is raised down to the next, raised up or brought down to the next level, so we continue on our journey. There's always lots of fun in the locks as the other boats come in and chat with the lock keepers. This is a little canal entering the lock. Yes, and sometimes our guests get quite excited, and after a few beers they're up dancing in the saloon area, and we get musicians on as well. You can see a musician there in the background. So it's a lot of fun. Again, the scenery in the background there, you can see it's all hills, and that's down in Killaloe, so the hills come right down to the water. Very, very pretty. That's our logo there. So that's the slideshow over with. Again, all this can be seen much clearer on our website at www.shannonprincess.com. And there's lots and lots of information there about how to book it and the rates and all that type of thing. But it's fully inclusive. Everything is included. All your alcohol, meals, everything. Nobody puts their hand in their pocket once they arrive. Packed once. It's a really lovely way to come. 6 days of just really nice, slow, gentle floating down the river. And it's a family-operated business. It's owner-operated, so your guests are assured of 100% attention. And that's really it for the moment. Again, lots of information on the website, or if anyone wants to contact us directly, they go to shannonprincess.com, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Thank
you. Just a matter of point, over the last 3 or 4 years, over 25% of our business now has been coming from Canada, and it's nearly all been booked through the U.S. So we'd love to get some serious booking going on in Canada. So that's it for the moment.
Thank you so much, Rory, for that really insightful presentation. I'm sure everyone really enjoyed it. There was actually a number of questions as you were presenting, and as you went along, you were answering a lot of them, which is super. We do have a question from Donna about actually booking. I think it's booked directly with yourself rather through a rep in Canada. Is that correct?
Hello, could you just repeat the last bit, please? There, I didn't get it.
Yeah, one of the agents was wondering, it's to book, it's actually booking direct with yourself rather than a rep in Canada. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the way to go about it, because we don't really have a rep in Canada. We don't have a wholesaler, but you can, if anybody has a relationship there with a wholesaler who wants to get in touch with us, that's no problem. In the United States, we sell through companies like Abercrombie and Kent and Frontiers and Barge Lady in Chicago. But yes, you can talk to us directly, no problem.
Okay, that's great. And I guess some of the other questions is there potential of kind of connecting on that side?
Yes, there is. Yeah, if it's a charter group and if the whole group are booking the boat exclusively, we will pick up anywhere in Ireland, in Shannon, Shannon Airport, Dublin Airport, or if they're on a pre-cruise trip, they might have been on a walking trip with John there, we'll pick up wherever. If it's individuals, they will have to make their own way to the boat, because the actual coach will have gone to pick up the others. But we'll help with all that, and we'll make it very easy. As I say, we're centrally located, so we're not very far from anywhere.
Okay, super. There was a question from one of the agents about commission for agents. I mean, you can always kind of answer that directly to the agents if you wish.
Yeah, if they get in touch with me, and we'll answer that directly, and we'll see what route they want to take. So
okay, we can supply.
Generous commissions.
Okay, great. And I just have a kind of a silly question, if you don't mind. Do you get seasick when you're on a river cruise, or is not really? Is it like rocky?
No, not at all. Not at all. No. Sometimes the lakes can blow up a little bit. If it was ever too rough for us to, we just wouldn't go. But we always get a calm in the evening then. But in fact, it's rarely happened.
Okay, and it's year-round, like service as well. You can, it's not weather.
No, it's seasonal. We usually start around the middle of April and we finish. We still have a limited availability for this year, and next year we've quite a few weeks booked already, but there's still plenty of availability.
Okay, super. I think that is all the questions that we have. What I can do is I can send the presenters' details and kind of info email addresses to all the agents who participated today, and if you do want further information from John or Rory, we can definitely arrange that. So that's kind of it for Discover and Uncover Active Ireland. I want to thank both the presenters. Again, we really appreciate you taking the time out to take us through the presentations, and all the agents as well who participated in today's presentation. So I think we'll just all say goodbye and thank you, and we look forward to the next webinar, which is next Tuesday on June 21st, and we also have another one on Thursday, June 23rd. So there's still time to register for both those presentations, and we hope you do. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Helen.
Thanks, John and Rory.
Just one last point, if there's somebody there, Helen, I feel free, and I have no problem if some people missed some of the slide presentation of you sending any of the images that they might require to look at to anybody who can, and they're free to use them because they are ours.
Okay, super. That's great. Thank you so much, John. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good evening. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.